You look up and the night sky is usually just this dark, quiet thing. But then, bam, these impossibly bright colors just start dancing across the stars. We call them auroras, and yeah, they look like pure magic. But it's actually the end of this absolutely wild journey through space. A journey that starts way, way out there, at our violently boiling sun. The sun is just intensely hot, constantly exploding with massive storms on its surface. Storms that are literally bigger than our entire planet. When those huge sunstorms explode, they shoot out these tiny, invisible pieces of extremely fast energy. We call this flying energy the solar wind, and it just sort of blows right out into the pitch-black darkness. Now, this isn't exactly a gentle breeze on a summer day. It's racing away from the sun at mind-boggling speeds, heading straight for us. It's intense, harmful space energy, and if it hit us directly, it could really hurt life on our planet.
This deadly wind rushes closer and closer, taking several days to reach us, looking like it's just going to utterly crash into our world. But luckily for us, we have a secret defender. Earth has this massive invisible shield wrapping all the way around our planet. It's a magnetic field, acting exactly like a giant space bubble. This bubble reaches far out into the darkness, standing bravely between us and that incoming wind. And when that wind slams into our invisible bubble, a huge space battle begins.
So the sun's energy is pushing super hard against the shield, but our shield pushes right back. Most of that dangerous wind just bounces off, deflected away into deep space like it's nothing at all. Down here on the ground, we are totally safe. We can't even feel this massive crash happening right over our heads. That invisible shield protects everything alive and keeps our air from blowing away into the void. But it's not a totally perfect wall. It actually has weak spots right at the very top and bottom of Earth, which we call the poles. Up at those poles, the magnetic lines sort of curve inward, trapping the solar wind. It slips right past the main shield, sliding down into those magnetic dips and rushing toward the north and south poles. Now the sun's energy is actually inside our protective bubble, speeding down toward the ground, about to finally hit something real. Because, our sky is just full of air, and that air is made of all these tiny gas particles. The incredibly fast solar energy smashes right into them, hitting them so hard, and just filling the air with all this extra energy. The thing is, the air particles just can't hold all that extra energy. They have to let it out somehow, so they release it by glowing, making this tiny little flash of light. Now, an individual flash is way too small to see, but countless particles are getting hit all at once. Endless tiny flashes happening together, creating this massive, sweeping glow in the sky. We are finally seeing the sun's energy with our own eyes, watching this invisible, violent battle turn into the most beautiful light show, total danger just turning into art. And the colors aren't just random either. They totally depend on what kind of air is taking the hit. Earth's air has a bunch of different gases, and each one makes its own special color. Take oxygen, the stuff we breathe. It floats pretty high up, and when it takes a hit, it glows green. That's why green is what you see most often. But sometimes the wind hits oxygen much, much higher up, and it acts differently, glowing this deep, special red, which is super rare. Then you have nitrogen. Nitrogen needs a really hard hit to glow at all, but when it does, it shines in these gorgeous blues and purples. All these different gases mix together up there, and their colors blend into these huge, glowing ribbons. You'll see green ribbons swirling with pink and purple edges, stretching out so the whole sky looks exactly like a painted canvas catching a breeze. And they don't just sit still. The lights dance and ripple across the dark because that solar wind just keeps pushing and pulling at them, making the lights wave and shift all night long.
Honestly, people have been watching this happen for countless generations. Back then, they obviously didn't know about space winds, so they thought the lights were magic spirits, telling stories about sky gods. Some ancient folks were actually really scared of the red auroras, thinking it meant war was coming, like the sky itself was on fire. They just didn't know about our shield. But others felt comforted. They thought the green ripples were friendly, dancing ghosts, maybe lost friends just waving down to them, bringing a little warmth to the freezing dark.
Today, though, we actually understand the real science behind it all. We have these amazing satellites just floating out in space, watching the sun every day, measuring the solar wind before it even gets close to us. Scientists can watch a storm erupt on the sun, calculate exactly how fast that wind is moving, and know precisely when our shield is going to take the hit. These forecasts tell us exactly when to look up, sending people traveling way up north, standing outside in the freezing cold, just hoping to catch a glimpse of those glowing green rivers.
Usually, you really have to be in the right place to see them,
because those magnetic openings are only at the very top and bottom of Earth. Most of us live too close to the middle and never see a thing. But every now and then, the sun throws a massive storm, and a huge amount of energy just slams into our shield. The shield gets squeezed incredibly hard, and those magnetic funnels actually stretch wider. When that happens, the lights get pushed south, reaching places that usually never see them, and people just wake up to this strange glowing night, where the whole world suddenly feels connected to space. As beautiful as these big storms are, they're actually pretty tricky. That really strong magnetic push can seriously confuse our space and ground tools. It can break compasses on ships, and it can even turn off entire city power grids. It's a gorgeous but intense reminder of this hidden power, showing us that our planet is deeply connected to the sun. We aren't just floating alone in some empty room. We live in a very active, sometimes chaotic neighborhood. And Earth isn't the only one dealing with this. Jupiter is a giant planet way out there, and it has this massive magnetic shield that gets hit by the solar wind too. Because of that, Jupiter has these huge glowing rings right at its poles. And so do Saturn and Uranus. Really, any planet with a strong shield and some air can make an aurora. It's practically a universal rule. Mars, though, Mars doesn't have a massive magnetic shield anymore. Its shield died a long time ago, and the solar wind just blew most of its air away, so it cannot make those big, bright auroras today. Knowing what happened to Mars really makes you appreciate our home planet so much more. Earth is just perfectly built to survive the solar wind. We have this spinning iron core deep inside that keeps our shield incredibly strong, and our thick air catches whatever energy leaks through. When you see an aurora, it's actually a sign of a really healthy planet. It proves our invisible bubble is doing its job, our atmosphere is completely intact, and that down here, we are totally safe. Every time you see an aurora, you're really looking at that whole crazy sequence of events. You're seeing the boiling sun millions of miles away, that blindingly fast wind racing through the dark, the giant crash against our shield, and those tiny gases glowing in the dark. It takes this massive, perfect chain of events just to make a simple flash of light. If any piece was missing, the sky would just stay dark. It is an absolute cosmic miracle that our planet can take a deadly space threat and turn it into something so breathtakingly beautiful. We are always protected by these incredible forces we can't even see. Magnetism and gravity doing all the heavy lifting, fighting our space battles and only letting a tiny bit of energy slip through. But that slipping energy, it gives us this unbelievable window right into space. The aurora is literally a visible map of our magnetic field. We are seeing the actual shape of our shield because the glowing gases broadcast a visible movie of new energy pouring in. When those green ribbons curl, that's the magnetic lines twisting in real time. And what's wild is this entire thing plays out in absolute silence. The solar wind makes no sound, the magnetic shield makes no sound, and the glowing gases are completely quiet. Sure, some people say they can hear a soft crackling, but scientists think that's just a different little trick of local electricity. The lights themselves make no noise at all, and that silence just makes the whole thing feel so incredibly magical. You can just stand there in the quiet snow, watching rivers of neon green flood the sky, and you just feel so wonderfully small but so incredibly safe. It really teaches you to look a little closer at the world. Things that seem so simple and quiet are actually these wildly complex space battles happening right over our heads. What does a quiet night really hide? Well, it's hiding a cosmic clash. But it's a dynamic that's easy to grasp. The sun just throws this incredibly fast energy, and Earth acts exactly like an invisible mitt, making a totally perfect catch, and then the air just lights up to show us it made the play. It's why we're never going to stop watching the sky. Those lights will never ever look the same way again. Every solar storm is completely unique, making every aurora a completely unique painting up in the dark. And as long as the sun burns, that wind is going to keep blowing. As long as Earth spins, our shield is going to hold. That invisible dance is just going to keep happening right above our heads, proving the dark sky will always hide these bright, amazing secrets. So, the aurora isn't just a pretty light show. It is quite literally the glowing edge of our survival. It's the proof that our planet fights every day to protect us. The most beautiful thing in our sky is actually a giant victory flag. Makes you wonder what other invisible battles are being fought right over our heads, doesn't it? If you vibe with learning how wild and wonderful our universe actually is,
Do me a favor, hit that like button, share this with someone who needs their mind blown today, and definitely subscribe so we can keep exploring this crazy place together.